All right, today we're going to unpack the incredible decade-long journey of an Indonesian mining company, PT Merdeka Copper Gold, or MDK for short. It's a fascinating story of transforming a geological prospect into a diversified powerhouse. And you know what? It all starts with one very bold question. So think about that for a second. How does a company with literally zero revenue go public on a major stock exchange? It sounds almost impossible, right? Well, that is exactly what MDKA did back in 2015. And that move, that audacious move, became the launchpad for one of the most dynamic growth stories in the region's mining sector. So here's a quick roadmap of how they did it. It starts with that highly unusual IPO. Then they pour their very first gold, which kicks off a phase of just aggressive expansion. And finally, they make a massive strategic pivot into the metals that are powering our green future. Okay, let's start right at the beginning with that bold, rule-breaking move, the IPO. You have to understand, investors weren't buying a producing asset. They were buying a promise. MDK became the first pre-revenue mining company to ever list on the Indonesian exchange. The bet was simple, but it was huge. You had to trust a highly experienced management team and the massive potential of the Tujuh Bukit deposit, which, right from day one, was estimated to hold 2 million ounces of gold. It was a massive, massive gamble on future potential. So, okay, they raised the money by selling a vision. But here's the crucial part. Could they turn that vision into actual, tangible gold? And boom. Just 2 years after that crazy IPO, this happened. In March of 2017, MDK achieved its first gold pour. This was the moment. This is when they delivered on their promise to those early investors, proving their model worked, and that the Tujuh Bukit mine wasn't just some number on a piece of paper. And this wasn't just a little test run. By 2018, their very first full year of operations, the Tujuh Bukit mine produced this much gold. The promise had officially become a very profitable reality. With the Tujuh Bukit mine now a reliable cash cow, MDKA didn't just sit back and relax. Nope. They used that momentum to fuel a period of really intense strategic growth. And the growth was immediate and aggressive. I mean, in 2018 alone, they acquired the Wetar Copper Project and took a controlling stake in the Pani Gold Project. At the same time, they were pouring money back into their core asset, doubling the processing capacity at Tujuh Bukits by 2019. They were building a diversified portfolio at an incredible speed. But just as they were cementing themselves as a major gold producer, the company made its next big move, a strategic pivot toward the metals that are absolutely essential for the green energy transition. You can see the shift right here. The company's focus changed dramatically. The story that began back in 2015 was all about precious metals, gold and silver. But by 2022, the future was clearly in copper, and most critically, nickel, for the electric vehicle battery supply chain. And this wasn't just about digging up nickel and calling it a day. Oh no, the strategy was way more sophisticated. They established a whole new entity, Merdeka Battery Materials, and partnered with an industry giant, Tsingshan. The plan is kind of genius, really. They use pyrite waste ore from their copper mine to produce sulfuric acid, and then that acid becomes the key ingredient to process nickel in these high-tech facilities. It's a very clever circular approach to building a materials powerhouse. All this rapid growth also brought a new level of maturity. MDKA was evolving from just a pure growth story into a modern mining major with a serious focus on sustainability and good governance. And you know, this commitment to governance wasn't some afterthought. If you go all the way back to 2018, right in the middle of their high-growth acquisition phase, the company was already investing significantly in local communities, funding things like education, health, and economic development programs. And that focus has only gotten sharper over time. By 2022, that local investment grew into a global standard climate strategy. Step 1, figure out your footprint. Step 2, improve efficiency with things like solar panels. Step 3, adopt new tech. And finally, Step 4, commit to a net zero goal by 2050, which puts them right in line with global climate ambitions. So after this decade of just relentless transformation, where does Merdeka stand today? And what's on the horizon? Remember that question from the very beginning? How a company with zero revenue goes public? Well, here is your answer. In 2024, Merdeka reported a consolidated revenue of $2.24 billion US. I mean, wow. It's an astonishing figure that really stands as a testament to their entire journey, from a pure prospect to a producing giant. And the story is not over, not by a long shot. That Punny Gold project they acquired way back in 2018 is now on the verge of production. Its first gold pour is expected in early 2026, and it's set to become one of Indonesia's largest primary gold mines. It just goes to show their growth engine is still firing on all cylinders. When you take a step back, MDKA's story is about more than just one company. It's a potential template for the modern miner, right? One that starts with a bold vision, diversifies into future-facing commodities, weaves sustainability into its core, and just never stops building. And that leaves the entire industry with a really big question. In a world of energy transition and heightened expectations, is this the new blueprint for survival and success?